Hello students, in this lecture we are going to learn about the tapeworm in more detail, for which we will consider the poke tapeworm Taenia solium. Tapeworm. This is an important endoparasite of phylum Platyhelminthes. We are going to learn about the life cycle of poke tapeworm Taenia solium. There is a beef tapeworm as well, Taenia saginata. So why it is called as the poke tapeworm? Poke means pig meat, and why it is called as the tapeworm? Because it resembles a measuring tape. Because it is so flat, it is like a tape, narrow and long, resembles a tape. It is an endoparasite within two hosts, humans as well as pigs. It is digenetic in nature. Digenetic means uses two hosts, and the two hosts are, first host is the human, the second host is the pig. Human is considered as its primary host and pig is considered as the secondary host. A host is considered primary when the parasite completes its sexual phase of life cycle inside that host. Sexual reproduction is completed here. So what do you know about the tapeworm? It infests the human intestine. Inside one human intestine, usually there is one tapeworm itself. It is so long, it can cover the length of the entire intestine. In fact, in this lecture we are going to see how from a human it enters inside the body of the pig, and how from the body of the pig it enters into the human back again. It has an indirect development. It produces larvae in between. There are two larval stages which we are going to see in this life cycle. It is hermaphrodite, that you know. It shows pseudo segmentation. What is each segment called? Each segment is called as proglottid. It shows indirect development. Two larval stages are seen. Let us look at its body parts now. Its body is divided into three parts. This head-like structure is known as the scolex. This neck-like region is called as the neck, and the remaining part, the rest of the part is called as the strobila, which is divided into many segments. The length of the segments go on increasing towards the posterior end of the body. These segments are known as proglottids. An example of pseudo-segmentation. The structure of the scolex was already discussed with you in more detail. What it comprises of: on the anterior-most side, there is a rostellum surrounded by two rows of hooks, and below the hooks there are four suckers. One will be on the other side. These are called as the suckers, and all three of these structures are meant for attachment of the tapeworm to the wall of the intestine of the host, and together this structure is known as the scolex. So the function of the scolex is attachment of the tapeworm to the wall of the intestine of the host. Following which there is the neck. The neck, through continuous budding, will keep on forming these structures which are called as the proglottids. Towards the anterior part of the body, the proglottids that are formed will be very narrow, and as we progress towards the posterior part, the length of the proglottids will keep on increasing. The proglottids are said to be of three types. There will be about 600 to 800 proglottids. The first few hundred proglottids will be called as immature proglottids. The function of these proglottids, is basically reproduction. It's formation of the eggs. So in the immature proglottids, there are no sex organs, because they are immature. The sex organs are not developed in them. Sex organs, which are supposed to be testes and ovaries, are not developed in them. The in-between proglottids will be of the second type, which are called as the mature proglottids. The mature proglottids are the ones in which the sex organs, that is testes and ovaries, would have been fully developed. Sex organs, that is testes and ovaries, are developed, and not only that, sexual reproduction is actively happening in these mature proglottids. Now, how does the sexual reproduction take place in the mature proglottids? The testes will produce the sperms which will fertilize the eggs of the same proglottid. There is so-called self-fertilization occurring over here. In rare cases, there may be cross-fertilization between two different proglottids of that same tapeworm. We don't find usually two tapeworms in one human intestine. So we can say that there is self-fertilization. Self-fertilization occurs. The last few hundred proglottids are called as gravid proglottids. In the gravid proglottids, the fertilization process has completed, the sex organs have degenerated, and the eggs that have been fertilized, they are now maturing. Thousands of matured eggs will be present within one proglottid, and the uterus in which these eggs are carrying will occupy more or less the entire space of the proglottid. These gravid proglottids will become very heavy, carrying all these matured eggs inside them. So what we can say about gravid proglottids? Sex organs degenerated, they carry fertilized eggs in an extended uterus Okay, so if you look at gravid proglottid, throughout the proglottid there will be presence of an extensive uterus, okay, containing the eggs. Now how are these eggs present? About 6 to 8 eggs will be packed together to form a compact mass surrounded by a thick covering. They will be called as egg capsules. Thousands of such egg capsules will be present inside the uterus. So let's say they carry egg capsules. Each egg capsule carries 6 to 8 eggs enclosed by a thick wall. Thousands of egg capsules are present within one gravid proglottid. These gravid proglottids are present towards the posterior part of the body, and these gravid proglottids will continuously be released from the body, and these gravid proglottids will be excreted out through the feces. Immature proglottids are going to be continuously formed by the neck towards the anterior part of the body, and the gravid proglottids will be continuously removed from the posterior part of the body. This process of removal of the gravid proglottids from the posterior part of the body is known as apolysis. Let's write removal of gravid proglottids is called as apolysis. What is happening inside those egg capsules? Let us have a look. Like I told you, inside each egg capsule there will be about 6 to 8 eggs. Inside those eggs there will be formation of the first type of larva. Inside the eggs there is formation of first larva. This first larva that is formed appears like this. It has 6 hooks on it. This larva is called as the hexacanth larva, and it is surrounded by a protective covering. This protective covering along with the hexacanth larva is together called as an oncosphere. Outside this oncosphere covering there will be the eggshell covering, so that will formulate one egg. 6 to 8 such kind of oncospheres will be present inside one egg capsule. So at the time of excretion, the first larva is already produced inside the gravid proglottids. Such kind of oncospheres are excreted out through feces. The oncospheres will still be inside gravid proglottid. Now those gravid proglottids carrying these oncospheres will be in the feces. Now what is going to happen? The pigs come into picture now. Do you know that the pigs feed on feces? Yes, they have coprophagous habit. They feed on feces. And when they feed on this feces that is infested with these gravid proglottids, they will consume them. Pigs feed on the feces. Oncospheres enter pig intestine. Once inside the pig intestine, the oncospheres will open up to release the free larva, that is hexacanth, into the intestine. Hexacanths are freed. What happens then? The hexacanths, which carry these hooks, they will drill through the pig intestines and they will enter into the blood capillaries, and through the blood capillaries they will enter into the pig's circulatory system and then enter into the heart and then into the muscles of the pig. Enter circulation, they will enter into the heart, then into the muscles. Once inside the muscles, the hexacanth larva will develop into its second larval stage. The second larva is formed in the muscles, which is called as the bladder worm or cysticercus larva. Inside muscles, second larva formed. Second larva is called as the bladder worm, also called as the cysticercus larva. Then this larva in the muscles of the pig will give this pig's muscles a kind of a measly kind of an appearance. It will appear to have whitish kind of spots that are seen in case of measles. So this type of poke is known as measly poke. Poke appears to have white spots. This white spotted poke is known as measly poke. And if this measly poke is consumed by humans in a raw or improperly cooked form, then the cysticercus larvae will enter into the humans, and inside the humans the cysticercus larvae will then develop into the mature adult tapeworm. Okay, and the cycle will continue. If eaten by humans in raw or improperly cooked form, they will enter human and they will produce adult tapeworm, and the cycle will continue. The infection of tapeworm inside the humans is called as teniasis. Tapeworm infection in humans is called as teniasis, and it will give you severe abdominal pain. There can also be bleeding. But this is a less severe case. If by chance, if the oncospheres are ingested by the humans, okay, which are supposed to be eaten by the pigs, but if they by chance enter into the humans, okay, then they can form the next type of larva, that is the cysticercus larva inside the humans, and may travel into the human muscles, into the eyes. They may travel also into the brain, the cysticercus larvae, and it can be a very severe or fatal infection. If oncospheres are ingested through contaminated food or water, are ingested by human, then it will cause cysticercosis, which is more severe, and it can be fatal as well. So this was about the life cycle of tapeworm, Taenia solium. This is part of the AIM syllabus.
महादेव के नाम पे सब्सक्राइब कर दें।